Okay, so today we're going to begin our unit on parallel lines. Parallel lines are coplanar lines that do not intersect. That's nothing new to you. We're going to use arrows to indicate the lines are parallel. And the symbol used for parallel lines is this little symbol right here. It kind of looks like two L's, and that's how you remember it. Parallel has two L's in it, and then the symbol looks like two L's. Now, when I draw arrows on a shape, and I'm going to show that the lines are parallel, here's what my little arrows are going to look like. They're not going to be quite as detailed as these little red triangles on the arrows that you see. So if we're looking at this above figure, the arrows show that line AB is parallel to line CD. And so if we wanted to show this symbolically, we would say AB is parallel to CD. Oh, it's an ugly D. CD. Line's not much better either, is it? All right, there are some other lines that we're going to cover today, and it's really important that you know the difference between them. We have perpendicular lines. Perpendicular lines are lines that intersect to form a right angle. The symbol used for perpendicular is here. It's an upside down T. When we have perpendicular lines, we get four right angles. And those four right angles, we've talked a little bit about them before, but those four right angles occur at that intersection. In this figure, we see that line M is perpendicular to line N. So if I wanted to notate that in symbols, I would say N perpendicular. Oh wait, M came first. So M perpendicular to N. And those little lines indicate their lines. Next, we've got oblique lines. Oblique lines are just some intersecting lines, but they do not form a right angle. Oblique lines have one point of intersection, and notice that around that point, it is not right angles. So the only way we could really write this symbolically is if we were to say M is not perpendicular to N. There's really not a better way to say that those two lines are just intersecting. Let me put my little line symbols up here. Man, I can't draw a straight line for anything right now. So let's look at some examples of skew lines and parallel planes. So two lines are skew if they do not intersect and are not in the same plane. So these lines are not coplanar. And we have the example of CG. So CG is kind of right here in the front. And then EF. EF would be like on the back side of a box. So imagine you had a box in front of you, a little cube. CG is going to be on the edge, and EF could be considered that back spot. Okay? All planes either are parallel or they intersect. Parallel planes are two planes that do not intersect. We've talked a little bit about that before. An example, if we look at these blue planes, we're looking at ABC and we're looking at EFG. Those are the top of the box and the bottom of the box. Those planes are parallel. They do not intersect. And now we're just going to do some examples where we use our vocabulary. So we're going to name all the segments that are parallel to AD. So first of all, let's put a spotlight on AD. So everything that's parallel to AD. So EH, BC or CB, and yeah, GF. All three of those segments are parallel. I think I may have called them planes, but I'm not entirely sure I did. Number 2, name all the segments that intersect AD. So if it intersects AD, then that means it touches it at some point. So first we've got AB, AE, CD, and DH. So all 4 of those segments intersect AD. Skew. Skew cannot be parallel, so we should not rename any of the answers for problem number 1. And skew is not in the same plane. So if it touches that blue plane, then we can't name that one either. So looking at these segments, it looks like I'm going to name EF. EF is way down here on the bottom. It's definitely not parallel, and it's definitely not in that same plane. And then I believe I'm going to name HG. All right, neither one of those are parallel. They're going in a different direction. And let's see, do we got any others? I believe so. CG and BH. Any other ones? So let's just talk about this one more time. We are not naming BC, FG, or EH because those are all parallel. All right? And we are not naming DC or AB because they touch line AD. And then what's our last thing? All right, we've got to name all the planes. I'm going to erase all of this now. We've got to name all the planes that are parallel to ABC. Well, there's only going to be one plane in this picture that's parallel. And that's going to be the plane down there at the bottom, the blue one. So we could name it EFG, GFE, FGH. There's a whole bunch of different ways we can name this plane. I'm going to name it EFG.